my gosh, it's so fantastic to see all of you. I can't believe it. Can you hear me? If you can, wave. Yes? Okay. Fantastic. So, welcome, welcome. I'm really so excited. We're so far away, some of us, and it takes years before I get around to your community. So, wow, this is very, very special. And I also, of course, want to welcome the new people. We had 103 people signed up as of this morning, and at least a third of them, I don't know their names. So that's pretty exciting, actually, to think that this medium can reach out in such a beautiful way. So before we go any further, the Zoom is very new to me, and I'm so grateful for Joshua's help. Joshua has been just fantastic, and he's the one who's going to try to keep us on screen and keep everything happening the way we want it to. He will also be available to answer questions and just serve in whatever way we need him. So Joshua, I know you have a few things that you want to say, so please.
Yes. So if you'll press mute.
Okay.
Okay, can everyone hear me? Okay, can everyone hear me? Maybe turn your audio off.
Turn my audio.
Yeah, like the speakers, put it on mute.
Oh. Okay.
Okay, there we go. Okay, so I'm also new to Zoom, so I'm learning with you all. But one of the things that I wanted to suggest is if you move the mouse down to the bottom of the video window, you'll see the tools. And there should be an area that says participants.
Manage participants.
Manage participants, do you see that? Yeah, so if you click on that, it'll open this side panel. And that'll, at the bottom, you'll see there's an option for responding yes or no to a question. And there's even an option to raise your hand for the Q&A panel. That way we can see who wants to have a question. I can turn on your mic so we don't all get caught in the loop. And then also down at the bottom of the video screen, you'll see the chat option. And if you click on that, that will open up a group chat that I'll be moderating and keeping track of. So if you have any questions, you can put them there and I'll respond. And also, we'll be able to send you files through there. So if we have some documents or images or anything, that's where you'll receive those. Okay, I think that's all that I have. Let's do this.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Take it away.
All right, I'm going to mute myself.
My sound on again.
Yeah.
Now, I'm unmuted. So, right, you can hear me. Okay, wow. Well, this is really interesting as a medium. You know, I'm so glad I can see you, because whenever I talk, I really rely on your energy to let me know if what I'm talking about is relevant. So if I see you fall asleep, then I know I've got to do something to liven you up. But at any rate, I doubt that that will happen. This is going to go by really fast. I have prepared some material, but you know, my favorite thing is just to talk directly from my heart to yours. My job, what I really see as the purpose in doing something like this, or in any of the activities that I engage in the name of Tara or Tara Dhatu or the Dharma, is to inspire, to spark us, to help us to maintain an orientation of awakened mind, to keep us moving in that direction. It's very easy for us to think that there are other things that we're doing in this world. You know, we're solving the world's problems, or we're growing more food, or we're taking care of our kids, but really the basic purpose of our humanity is to manifest the fullness of our potential. And that includes all of those things. There isn't anything that does not playing around with some, no, okay, you can all hear me, I'm still talking, okay. All right. At any rate, so this is my purpose. So as I went through these notes, I saved what was inspiring to me, because in order to inspire you, I have to be inspired. And so then it becomes, we build on this together. And very much these teachings that I have been working with in this interesting book of His Holiness the Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu, very interesting. They point out in very colloquial ways, very charming ways, how important relationship is, how important that we gather together as a community, because we reinforce the capability of awakened mind. We reinforce the capability of manifesting joy in our life. The word that they used a lot in this transmission, this book, was joy, which is one of my favorite words. I love the idea of joy, bliss and joy. How can we experience more of this? And how can we use it to ignite other people's bliss and joy? How do we do that? And what causes us to get knocked off of this, to get disoriented? And when we're disoriented, how do we come back to the center line, to this intense purpose of awakening, of awakened mind? How do we do that? So my sharing with you is based on a method that I've developed for myself. And in this method, I've taken inspiration from these very great beings that I have had the great fortune to study with. But also, I take it from my friends, I get it from nature. I'm inspired by many different kinds of things and ways. And I know the importance of that. But what I'm sharing with you are these ideas. I like to call them catalysts. Now, many of you who have been with me for a while, you're familiar with some of these catalysts. When you drop an idea, when you drop a piece of information into somebody's stream of becoming, if it is a powerful catalyst, it will engage with their experience and allow them to have an awakening inside of it. So this is what I'm trying to achieve with this sharing that I'm doing with you, is to just drop these little catalytical points into the stream of your becoming. And let's see what pops up. Let's see if it inspires you. So the first thing we have to understand about joy, the most important thing, and this was an emphasis throughout the book in varying ways, is if we want to be joyful, we have to have a sense, we have to cultivate a sense of interconnectedness. The basic source of our wisdom, which is our joy, is the interconnectedness with other beings. We are in relationship. There is no way that we are not in relationship. We're in relationship with each other. We're in relationship with our family. We're in relationship with the bus driver. We're in relationship with the guy who cut us off in traffic. We're in relationship with the cats. We're in relationship with the trees and the plants. And it's all about relationship. So engaging in relationship, what knocks us out of our joy? Well, we know what makes us joyful when we're with friends that we are compatible and people who inspire us, and a situation when we're comfortable in our bodies. We know that this can bring about a state of happiness or joy. So the question from the practice point of view is, okay, so first of all, we want to learn how do we increase our joy? And then we want to observe what is it that diminishes our joy? The piece that I thought was so really precious in this book is that His Holiness the Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu kept repeating over and over again, making other people happy, making other people is sharing your joy. So this is so easy if you think about it. You know, if you, in other words, we need to be joyful. That it's not, we really have to be careful not to be these sour-faced religious fanatics. We want to share our joy. And in that way, as other people are joyful, that spreads, it's something that spreads throughout the world. So the first consideration that we have, according to the teachings that I follow, this layout that I follow to increase my own joy, it all starts with the understanding of interconnectedness. If we don't have that understanding, if we step away from interconnectedness for any reason, if we put somebody outside of ourselves and say, no, you're not connected to me. If we do that, then we are isolating ourselves. So this is the first movement towards diminishing our joy. Every time we, with a thought, with a word, with a gesture, with an action, that we look at another being and act towards another being as if they were separate from us, as if their feelings didn't matter, their thoughts, their ideas, whatever is going on there doesn't matter, then we diminish ourselves. And this creates a very unhealthy state of mind. I actually have all these quotes here. Well, let's see if we get around to the quotes. But I actually have all these quotes of scientists that say over and over again, if you want to be healthy, be happy. Now this sounds like, wait a second, doesn't health come first and then happiness? No, it comes together. It comes together. There's one of the quotes that I actually sprinkled it throughout the 8 pages that I printed up because I love it so much. Our cells are actually listening to our thoughts. I love that to think about this, to think that what we think about and how we think about it is having a tremendous effect on every cell in our body. So if we have the sense that we want to increase our health, we need to increase our joy. We need to increase our happiness. So, and we need to understand that everyone around us also, whatever they're engaged in, wherever they're at, it is affecting us. So the other aspect of this, what the Tibetans called original poison, which is the idea that we are separate. What happens when we move into that, misunderstanding of our essence? We do 2 activities. We grasp onto an identity. We grasp and attach onto what gives us a sense of self. And we push away anything that threatens that sense of self. The more we do this, the more unstable we become. And in that instability, disease enters. And this is not only the disease of the body, it's also the disease of the heart, the disease of the mind, the disease, dis-ease, the not being comfortable in our experience. We want to know that at any moment we can change that by recognizing, where did I step away from interconnectedness? That's the question we should always ask ourselves when we're feeling uncomfortable. If that person is bugging me, that's one thing, but how I relate to that bugging. Am I putting that little bugger away from me and not caring about what's going on there? Or, and this is what's suggested in the practice, is let me take a step back. Let me look at myself and see, what am I doing to create this situation, and how can I change it? How can I be creative in this situation so that instead of rejecting and pushing away and engaging in aggression or grasping onto our identity and protecting it with all of our might, rather than that, how can I rest in this situation as a being who is at heart wise, radiating compassion? How can I do that? That should always be our question when we are confronted with these situations, with this circumstance. So the issue, of course, is how do we change the mind? Because all of us know that this all sounds really good, and yes, you know, theoretically it sounds great, But theory has to be put into practice, otherwise it's ridiculous, it's useless. So how do we put theory into practice when somebody is attacking us or coming after us and not allowing us to, I just had to admit somebody, not allowing us to experience our joy. We start blaming the other person. We blame the conditions. We blame the situations. You're the fault that I'm not joyful. Well, in the mindfulness practices of the Tibetans, they say very carefully, okay, I just became an echo.
Got it.
Got it? Okay. So one of the most important gestures in this 7 points of mind training is, where am I responsible for what's happening? Where am I responsible? Now, if we only see our own little past in this little body, then we can get confused, because we could say, well, gosh, I didn't do anything to cause this. But in fact, our interconnectedness means that somehow, somewhere in all of our infinite lives, this condition has arisen. And I have something to do with this. What that is, it's not particularly necessary to know, but it is necessary for us to accept this, for us to understand that, yeah, okay, forget about blaming the other person and forget about blaming me. Let's drop blame altogether and let's find a solution. Let's find a creative solution to whatever it is that is causing us the disturbance. Now, I always say we start, and we have already, with this intent. Why am I doing this? Why are you bothering to come and say hello to this crazy woman here and sit in front of this screen and listen to this? Why are we doing this? We're doing it because we seek to manifest the fullness of who we are, which is the essential nature of wisdom. According to these teachings, we already have everything inside of us. We just need to stimulate it. We want to be able to radiate our loving compassion into the world, so that is what we give the world. And as we engage in these discussions, in these concentrations, we're gathering skill, we're gathering information, we're gathering inspiration. Now, the next thing that we want to make sure that we do is to gather support, because this is not an easy journey that we are on. We are, in fact, it's a difficult journey, the transformation of the mind. Somehow, when we enter the Earth's gravity, we seem to forget everything. There are only little traces of whatever we gathered in our previous lives. They're there, but they need to be stimulated, and we need to focus on them, and we need to work with them. So fortunately, we have these various modes of ways of approaching, ways of experiencing things differently. So as I talk and as I go through these little quotes and things, what I invite you to do is don't stress about it. Don't try to grasp onto it. If you want copies of my notes, I'm happy to email them to you. This is not an issue. But for this moment, what I'd like you to do is just simply relax and allow the deep mind to resonate with these concepts. Let the deep mind feel into it. We're not going to talk about method. We will be doing some meditation. I'm definitely going to do a bit of guided meditation so that we can experience this on that level. But right now, the intellect and the deep mind are both engaged. So that's a good thing. That'll take us where we want to go indeed. Okay, so the book that I'm working on, I want you to know, it's called The Book of Joy, Lasting Happiness in a Changing World. So according to His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the true source of joy is in our relationships with people, animals, and the natural world. And I think we can certainly agree with that. So, and he tells us, increase your joy. If you really want to do something for the world, increase your joy and live in deep, loving, and generous relationships with others. Now, in this book, he continually quotes these scientific experiments. Now, the reason I think that this is so important for us to hear and understand is that we are surrounded with a culture that has demonstrated extreme skepticism when it comes to the achievements of the mind and the heart. We have been treated for several hundred years with a very literal approach to what's going on. And because of this, we have not been able to honor other ways of experience. In other words, there are a lot more things going on in the body-mind than we were allowed to entertain. So when a scientist comes up and says, well, I did this research and son of a gun, exactly what these people, these meditators have been saying for hundreds of years, I can prove it on my machines. So for us who have been, the scientists were like our priests, the priests of the Western world. What they say is God, is truth. So to have them come in on this really helps us, because we have, even if we don't believe it anymore, as far as the forward part of the mind, the deep part of the mind still has these experiences of being invalidated when we knew that what we thought and the thoughts of the people around us were affecting not only us, but the entire environment. So the first scientific piece that I want to share with you is this fellow named Richard Davidson, who is a neuroscientist. And he says, there are, in studying joy, he made a study of joy and discovered that there are individual brain circuits that help our well-being, that give us a sense of lasting well-being. And that it's up to the individual how much they cultivate these. Now, this is really helpful for us to know, because this is not in any kind of religious anything. This is basically some guy sitting down and doing these tests on all of these different people and coming up with the understanding that if we maintain a positive state, there is a specific aspect of the brain that is reinforced, and that this aspect of the brain is responsible for our own happiness. Now, this sounds pretty obvious, doesn't it? But when you find yourself drifting off into other frames of mind, into negative states of mind, you can tell yourself, wait a second, I want to maintain a positive state of mind here. How can I do that? So the second is our ability to recover from negative states. And even though these two influence each other, they still dwell in different parts of the brain, which I found really fascinating. So on the one hand, we have the generation of positivity. On the other hand, we have the realization that that's not always going to work. Sometimes we are going to end up negative. So that's really helpful to know, because then we don't freak out when suddenly we fall off the happy wagon. We simply look at it and go, okay, I'm pretty negative here. What can I do to move myself out of this? So that's a completely different part of the brain. And it functions, the more we do it, the stronger it gets, and the more it supports our well-being. Now, the next one is very interesting. Another totally different part of the brain. We need to be able to focus. We need to be able to place the mind. Now, this is like an advertisement for meditation. It's telling us, but it's not just sitting on a cushion meditating. We can develop our focus. We develop our focus, we develop our our ability to avoid mind wandering by engaging in activities that engage us. So we want to develop that kind of arrangement in our life. We want to know that there are things that we do that fully capture our focus. And then we want to look at the mind that's focusing and see that it can do this. It can do this. And you don't have to be sitting down to do this. You can be walking. You can be washing the dishes. You can be driving your car. You become aware. I'm driving my car. I'm focusing my mind completely on driving my car. So this is an aspect of the brain that stands by us as we, to influence our well-being. But then the fourth one, which we're going to speak a little bit about during our meditation, or much more actually, is the ability to be generous. And I think that this is very interesting. According to this man's studies with all of his machines and his people all hooked up to his machines, the more generous people were in their thoughts, in their way of approaching others, in their life in general, had a tremendous effect on their well-being, on their personal well-being. So let's just sort of breathe into those four: positive states, recover from negative states, focus, and generosity. Knowing that each day and each moment we are creating and recreating our lives and the quality of our human life on this planet. So now we're going back to our cells are actually listening to our thoughts. So according to these teachings, it's all a matter of perception. How do we perceive a thing? Now, the next scientific experiment, which I found really fascinating, was the whole idea about stress. We have to look at stress and understand that stress could either tear us apart, or in fact, stress could be a very positive, reinforcing experience. How can stress reinforce us? So according to these scientists who hooked everybody up to all of their machines, they discovered that if stress drives us into anger or the fight or flight response, if stress does that, then definitely it is taking away from our sense of well-being. But at the same time, they found that if we look at a stressful situation as a challenge that is going to give us something, that's going to increase our growth, if we look at stress that way, in fact, it does increase our sense of well-being. So this is something we need to examine. We need to look at the stressful moments in our life and see how are we responding. I just want to read this a little bit because it's kind of amusing. Our cells are listening to our thoughts. In a stressful situation, cortisol, adrenaline course into our blood. Pupils dilate.
It's Prema.
What? What? Who was that?
New member.
New member. Welcome. Okay. Okay, where was I? Oh yeah, stress. Challenging situation. Here, come on, bring it on. Okay, anyway, I was somewhere in the middle. Oh, cortisol and adrenaline, yes. Okay, so what just happened? Adrenaline came into my blood, my pupils dilated, I see more clearly, heart increased, breathing increased, and then the blood, instead of going to the organs, goes to the big muscles so we can fight or run. Okay, yes, because that's exactly what whoever's voice it was that popped on did to me. However, we can disarm this immediately. We can disarm this immediately. If we see the situation, okay, I'm learning, here we are, zooming away, figuring out how to do this. So we need to learn how to be able to have, because it's heightened awareness that actually occurs during a stressful moment. But if we let it wear us down, if we try to push it away, I don't want this. Now, I've often been telling my students, whatever the situation is, whatever the conditions are, pushing it away is not going to solve it, because then you're involved, you're actually making it stronger. So you want to turn about in your mind, to stop seeing it as something, this is horrible, I have to push it away, but to see it as, okay, what opportunity is this offering me? Now, one of the interesting scientific things that isn't in this paper, but that I think is really fascinating, is the discovery that in general, men and women deal with stress in very different ways. That women, instead of fighting or flighting, they nurture and network. Now, of course, we all have this capability within us. This isn't something that women own, but it is something for us to observe, that when that adrenaline is flowing and our tendency is to freak out and to run away or to become violent, if we are able to see, okay, who can help me out here? How can I be supported in this? Who can I talk to that can give me some information about how to change this situation, how to work with this situation? This is our network. And how can I look at this situation to see how can I use it to bring benefit? This is where we learn about the practice of Tonglen, where we learn that everybody is going through changes. There's the essence of our humanity, and this is everyone, including the people that we think are completely lolo or completely crazy. Everybody has basically the wisdom and radiance in their heart latent, unless it is stimulated or awakened. So anyone who's not in touch with that is directly heading in is going in the direction of major suffering. So if somebody is aggressing towards you, you need to be able to look at it and say, where are they suffering? Where are they suffering, and what can I do? Now, often there isn't anything we can do. Their suffering is something that they are going to have to solve themselves. You can give them hits, but they're not ready to listen. Because when those adrenaline, there was another little piece here that said about what happens. That, here we go. Our critical thinking cortex, our prefrontal cortex, important for emotion regulation and moral judgment, loses its ability to control our emotional limbic system. Oh, yo ho. So there we are. In other words, we lose control. We lose control. But that's not necessary if we train ourselves to take a step back, to take a few breaths, and to look at the situation as what is being asked of me, and how can I learn? What can I learn here? And what tool can I use that will be of benefit to other beings? So that's that little piece of wonder. And then His Holiness, it was very beautiful. He said, look, when you do get into frustration and anger, there are three things that he recommends to stimulate our creativity. He said the first one is to think, this person is just like me. They have their fears, they have their pain, they have all of the things that as a human being that I suffer from. So that helps to orient your perspective. It helps put things in perspective, because generally we are trained in our culture to just think about ourselves, you know, what's going on with me. not the whole picture of what's going on in the whole picture. The second piece is to really think about, okay, so what did I do? Is there anywhere, any place that I can find that I have stimulated this situation, that I'm creating it, in fact, by my behavior or by my attitude? Is there anywhere in there? And finally, and this has to do with something that a friend of mine said when you get married, if there's a conflict, what is the first thing you should say? Okay, I'll tell you. Are you tired? Are you hungry? He said, you will disarm half of your arguments if you start with that. Because a lot of frustration has to do with the fact that your adrenal glands have already been kicking the whatever out of you. And so you're exhausted by your own emotional overwhelm. So rest a little bit, take a break, breathe, come back to a place where you feel comfortable with yourself. And the other business about hungry, a lot of times we don't even notice that that's going on. So we want to just get it over with so we can get to the food. So just little tips like that. Because what, you know, so I've had one teacher, Western Buddhist teacher, say, you know, these are just things that, you know, a psychiatrist or a psychologist, you know, this isn't Dharma. Well, I definitely don't agree with that. I think that every moment that we live is Dharma, and every moment that we live is our opportunity to increase the capacity of our awakened mind. And that if we don't use the life around us, we are going to continually come out of our meditation and freak out. Because it's the moment, we see this over and over again when people come on retreat and we're praying and we're practicing and we're dancing and it's wonderful, and then they go home and they write to us and say, my life just fell apart and my husband won't talk to me and I felt so good at retreat and I feel so terrible. Yeah, right. Because we want to be able to take it into our life. It's about our life. Another thing that they spoke about that I thought was really quite interesting. Oh my goodness, I'm just talking away here. Oh, okay, I will bring this to get to our meditation. This happens with Prema's Dharma rants. For those of you who have never attended them before, she gets excited. Yes, I see all of my old students going, yes. Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, I see some clapping. All right, good. Okay, the other one is loneliness and depression, because this is something that is very common in our world right now and something that we deal with a lot. So I do just want to mention something since they did bring it up in the book. But I also think, I'm going to read this little quote because I think it's a crack up. Loneliness is caused by excessive self-obsession. It's bad for your health to be self-obsessed. The scientists have made a discovery that people who use the first person pronouns, I, me, mine, have a significantly greater risk of having a heart attack. People who more often use I, me, are more likely to be depressed than people who more often use the plural, we and us. Now, this is the scientist hooking people up to their machines and discovering. I think this is amazing, actually, because if you think about it, I mean, I have listened to countless hours of my Tibetan teachers, and finally the word that I understood, that when they would say, you know, self-respect, I said, no, it's not that. It's self-obsession. It's this idea that everything is revolving around us. Yes, we have our conditions, we have our situations, we have our problems. But if we are constantly focusing only on that, if we don't see how the bigger picture, if we don't take the bigger picture into account, then it makes us sad. It makes us uncomfortable. Depression is a sense of alienation from the world. So how do we climb out of that? How can we see that it doesn't matter who we are, what we are, how we talk, what we look like, all of these, what we accomplish. What matters is how much love we share. How much do we care about other people? Even if we can't do anything. I knew a woman, she was one of the most interesting women I've ever met. She was quadriplegic. She was in a wheelchair. She managed the wheelchair with these little buttons. I think she had a couple of fingers that worked. She relied on everybody to take care of her. And yet, it was so joyful being around this woman. It was so incredible. And when we were dancing Tara, you know, she rolled her wheelchair out. She danced Worthy of Honor, which meant she barely moved, but she did it with her mind. And we all felt it. And then after, when I was explaining the prayer, the food blessing prayer, I explained how everybody who brings things to us, when we eat, we can bless not only the whatever it is that we're eating, but all of the people that are engaged in bringing whatever it is that nourishes us. And she said to me, that made me so happy to think that all of my life, people have taken care of me. All of my life, people have done everything for me. And now I know what I can do for them. I can bless them. I can bless them and I can send my love to them. So beautiful, so, so beautiful. And so depression, loneliness, get out of yourself. Get out of yourself. I know that that sounds hard. That sounds like tough love, but it's real. It's real. Serve. Find some way to serve. Find some way to uplift others, even if it's just a smile. Okay, wow. Okay, so now what I would like us to do, just for a second, I'm going to guide us in a meditation. So I want everybody to stand up or move around or, you know, just like do something with your body, right? I can't step back because of the way this whole thing is set up, but so all you see, yeah, that's it. And some hips, get the hips in there, the shoulders, the head. Okay, that's great. Oof. Yeah, because, you know, too much sitting. I mean, I'm sorry, but it doesn't work. Okay, so now we're going to try another Zoom adventure. I'm going to read this meditation. I want you to sit as much as possible with your spine straight, and you can close your eyes. It's probably better, but if not, what we're going to do, we're going to put on the screen a very beautiful slideshow of just beautiful images that Joshua has created out of his own photographs. So while he's doing that, I will guide you in this meditation. So now he's going to tell me what I need to do. Do I need to turn off my video?
Okay, your video, yes.
Okay. Okay. All right. And now you're going to start.
Yes, we just got to do the row.
Okay. Okay. So now the first thing that we're going to do is engage in the 9 healing breaths. Inhaling deeply, and on the exhale, let go of all physical tension. So do this a few times according to your own rhythm, inhaling radiant light, and exhaling and letting go of all physical tension. Now again, inhaling radiant light. On the next exhale, let go of emotional tension. Don't try to think about what emotional tension you might have. Just give the deep mind the command, let go of emotional tension. Inhaling radiant light, and on the next set of exhales, let go of mental tension. Again, we're not trying to think about what mental tension we have. Just give the deep mind the command. Let go of mental tension. Inhaling radiant light, let go of mental tension. Now imagine that you are sitting in a beautiful, peaceful, comfortable place. Close to you, to your right, left, and behind, are your family, your friends, and your pets are sitting directly in front of you. In front of you in the sky are your sources of refuge, and surrounding them, all the radiant light beings of all the traditions of the world. These beings are pouring love and light into you and into those around you. Surrounding your family and friends are all the people of your community. Surrounding them, the people of your country. Surrounding them, all the people of the world. Everyone is looking forward to the radiance in the sky, and everyone is receiving love and light, inspiration and joy. You are deeply relaxed. Continue to feel yourself inhaling radiant light, and with every exhale, let go of tension as we proceed. We are going to meditate on the 8 pillars of joy. As we reflect on these pillars, your body continues to relax, your heart light and open. For this meditation, you can use a current problem as an object of focus, reflecting on a situation, person, or challenge that may be causing you discomfort or to lose your joy. Or you can think of all the people in the world who need this ability and wish for them to be able to disarm the habits of the mind that lead one away from joy. The first pillar is perspective. We tend to see things one way, our way, with blinders in a sense. Realize there are many different angles to any situation. If you are focusing on a problem, see yourself and your problem from a wider perspective. Step back. Look at the bigger picture. Move beyond your limited self-awareness. If you feel it is a person disturbing you, try looking through the other person's eyes. What are their fears? How do they see you? Think about your situation as a we and an us. Looking at the endless past, looking into the endless future, opening into endless space, all things arising, passing away. Let go of clinging to your own perspective. The second pillar is humility. Remember, you are one of the 7 billion people on this planet. Your situation is part of the challenges that so many human beings experience. It is part of the unfolding and interdependent drama of our planet. See yourself from space and see how deeply connected we all are with one another. We are part of the flowering of the universe. We are deeply connected to those who share our concerns, feel love and appreciation for all those who have contributed to who you are and who support you in your life. The third pillar is humor. Now, I want you to go up to your view options and open up to see everybody. How do we do that? Josh?
Got it.
Okay, smile. Everybody smile. Smile. Stay there. Stay there. Smile. You can chuckle at your problems, at your shortcomings, at your frailties. Find the humor in situations, even if it's grave or serious. The human drama is a comedy. Laugh. Laugh. Come on, I see you. All right, good. So, laughing together. Science tells us, oh, we were going to unmute everybody. Can we unmute them?
Sure.
Okay, unmute them.
Hello.
Ready? Hi.
Hello.
All right.
1 second.
Okay, am I on?
You're on.
Okay, so now we can go back to that beautiful slideshow. Accept that we are struggling. Number 4, this is the 4th pillar. Accept that we struggle. Accept whatever gift life offers us. This is so important. This is something I see all the time when I'm consulting with people. We want to just push the situation, the conditions that are bothering us away, when actually they probably have some fabulous gift for us if we would just face them and accept them, embrace them, and work with them, be creative with them. Yes, painful realities happen to us and to those we love and in our world, but drop the past. The past has already happened. Nothing we can do to change the past. We must accept the reality of existence and release rigid assumptions about how to achieve your goal. Peace and equanimity come from letting go of our attachment to the way the goal unfolds. So now, the 5th pillar is forgiveness. Please place your hands on your heart. And now, forgive yourself for any part you have played in creating this problem, this situation. We're human. We fall short of our aspirations. We may hurt and we may hurt others. It's okay. Forgive yourself and let go of the guilt. You are doing your best. See the human predicament of everyone else and forgive them for all their human limitations. Now here's another scientific statement. Science tells us that forgiveness strengthens our immune system. So for this moment, with your hands on your heart, feel yourself dissolving the walls of blame in your own heart. Dissolve the blame you take on yourself and the blame you have for others. Melt it in the flames of your wisdom at your heart and radiate your loving understanding to all. The 6th pillar is gratitude. Okay, now we're going to go back to our full screen again, if we can find it. Thank you. Okay, here's another request. Smile. Our scientists tell us that smiling for as little as 20 seconds can trigger positive emotions, jumpstart joy and happiness. Keep smiling. Smile. Science tells us smiling stimulates, now here, listen to this one, neuropeptides that unleash a feel-good cocktail. Okay, so keep smiling, because this is what's going to happen. Your serotonin, it's a natural antidepressant. Your dopamine stimulates the reward centers of the brain, and your endorphins, which are natural painkillers, keep smiling. Smiling even rewards the brains of those who see us smiling. So we look at each other and we're making each other very happy by seeing our smiling. So for a moment here, smile and feel serotonin is antidepressing you. Dopamine is stimulating the center of your brain and rewarding you, patting you on the back. And those endorphins are killing your pain. So keep that smile going. Now, think of 3 or more people or things that you're grateful for in your life. Can you find ways in which your problems are actually contributing to your life? They're blessing your life. They're giving you growth. And think of the people or things that are supporting you in your challenges. So now place the palms of your hands on your heart. Have compassion for yourself. Just close your eyes for a second. Have compassion for yourself and how you struggle. It takes time to grow and learn. When there are frustrations, feel the light of loving kindness shining from your heart throughout your body. Remember, our cells are actually listening to our thoughts. Now send that compassion from your beautiful, radiant heart to your loved ones, to anyone you're struggling with, and to all who are in need of love and compassion. Feel the deep generosity that is in your heart. This is pillar number 8. Imagine yourself radiating this generosity of spirit all around you. How can you give your gifts? How can you transform your problems into an opportunity to give to others? When we give to others, we experience true joy ourselves. Well, remember those brain circuits in the beginning, those 4 parts of the brain? Generosity, one of the 4 fundamental brain circuits. It's associated with better health and longer life. Here's a science tongue twister. Just thinking about generosity significantly increases the protective antibody salivary immunoglobulin A. Ha! This is a protein used by the immune system just by thinking about generosity. So for this moment, we just increased this wonderful immunoglobulin da-da-da. Feel it. Feel your generous loving pouring through you, healing you. Now radiate that love out into the world. When we practice generosity of spirit, we're practicing all the pillars of joy. In generosity, there's a wider perspective. In generosity, there is a humility that recognizes our place in the world and acknowledges that at another time, we have been the one in need. In generosity, there's a sense of humor, an ability to laugh at ourselves. In generosity, there's an acceptance of life without expectations. In generosity, there is a forgiveness of self and others. In generosity, there is gratitude for all that we have been given. In generosity, there is deep compassion and a desire to help those in need. Generosity, helping others, is helping ourselves. So we are about to bring this meditation to a close, this meditation contemplation, this playful gathering connection of spirit. Again, focus on the breath. Breathing in light, breathing out love. Now think of someone who needs help. You can choose a loved one, a friend, or even a whole group of people, such as the refugees that we have all over the world. Bring your attention to your heart, connecting with the brilliance of your wisdom and the radiance of your compassion. and generate concern for the well-being of the person or the group you are focusing on. Deep in your heart, there's a desire for them to be free of suffering. Imagine as you inhale, their pain is being drawn from their body and dissolving when it encounters the warmth and bright light of your compassionate heart. See their pain as dark clouds that dissolve as they encounter the bright light of your heart. And as you exhale, give them your joy. Send them rays of light filled with your love and compassion, your courage and your confidence, your strength and your joy. Inhaling the dark clouds of their pain, seeing them dissolve as they encounter the bright light of your heart. Exhaling and giving them your joy, sending them rays of light filled with your love and compassion. Your body is filled with light. Every cell of your body is singing in joy. You radiate light and love into the world. May all beings be happy. May all beings be free. So now please open your eyes, stretch about a little bit. We're coming to a close of the me only talking part of our event. Can we have everybody? Yeah, there we go. All right. Oof, what a journey that was. The 8 pillars of joy. The 8 pillars of joy. Oh, okay, I see some happy movement there. Wonderful. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Oh, I have to turn my video on. But yeah, there I am. Okay, perfect. So now I want to hear from you guys, but first I have some little announcements to make. I'm hoping to continue at least once a month with this program, and maybe even more frequent. It depends on how much you like it. So I'm going to need to have some feedback from you. You know, send me an email, or you can write. Oh, it looks like we have some chats going already. Yeah. So that's one thing. Also, I need your support in order to be able to keep doing this. So Joshua is going to organize an email that is sent to all of you with a little donate button. Now, someone asked me, what's a suggested donation? This is how can I tell? I don't know what to say to you. 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, you know, whatever. Just know that it supports us being able to do this, because I am sharing the income with Joshua. It's very important that I have somebody who can do the technology to make it possible. So I appreciate. And I know some of you have already donated. Thank you so much. Then I want to read out some Dhatu news, because some of you probably don't know we've been cooking up stuff and it's not on the internet. So here we go. Oh, so Joshua is saying that he can send it. How are you sending it? A chat? Okay, so this, I'm going to read it to you, but it's also in the chat panel. So I think you can download from the chat panel, or I don't know what you can do with it. Yes. But if, yes, I see some heads bobbing that know a little bit about Zoom. Okay, so here it goes. For those of you who can't or won't. Full moon in January, the 19th and 20th, I will be in Pacifica. So you can contact Barbara Patton, and I have her email address. January 23rd through 30th, I will be in Austin, Texas. You can contact Anjali for that program. April 16th through 26th, Media and I will be leading a mandala in Ecuador. Now, this is the first time that I have been invited to Ecuador. So if any of you feel like some kind of big adventure, I don't know anything about it at all, but one of our Tara sisters, for those of you on Maui, Frisia, has invited me to come, and Media, of course, will be with me. So that's happening April 16th through 28th. May 11th through 18th is our annual Tara Dhatu South American retreat in Brasilia at Paraíso na Terra. And you can contact me about that and also about Ecuador. June 9th through 16th, our Tara Dhatu International Annual Retreat will be at the Abode of the Message in upstate New York. We will end the retreat in Woodstock, making an offering of dances at KTD, the Karmapa seat in the West. That little piece is not totally confirmed, but we'll definitely be going to KTD and we'll do something there. June 28th through 30th, we'll prepare a dance offering for Anam Tupten, his seat in Richmond, California. So you're getting this news before I even post it anywhere. So this is the advantage of Zoom, just so that you can, you know, make arrangements to come and dance and be together with us. And then be sure to check the news section of the featured articles on the homepage of worldwideweb.taradhatu.org, because you can find stories about Adrienne's trip to New Zealand, Parvati's dance at the Sakya Temple, her work in Phoenix, Nidhi's classes in Portland, her mandala in Guarapari, Jacqueline's classes in Virginia, Tara dancing at KTD Woodstock with Hope and Elizabeth, the 2 Tara babies that were born, Jocelyn had her beautiful baby and Dani had her beautiful baby, and the masks dancing in the south of Brazil. So Taras are dancing all over the world and I love it. I think it's so wonderful. So now let's see, pretty good. Okay, 10 past 1. So you were right, Anjali, 1 o'clock, 1 hour isn't enough. I'm glad we said an hour and a half. So now, what questions? Joshua, do you have anything? Have you been looking at the chats?
No questions in the chats, but if anyone has a question, you can raise your hand and it'll show up on the little participants panel. And also I wanted to say thank you to everyone. I know that there was some issues getting the link in the emails, but hopefully we got it fixed and everyone's in here now.
Okay, so from Anjali to everyone, thank you. From Zania to everyone, thank you. From Miri Dakini, from Robin Knox, oh boy, yay, yippee. Okay, you're coming to the Tara retreat, yay, Robin. Okay, well, then no questions.
Will there be a 2019 Tara retreat on Kauai?
2019. Oh, okay, so about Kauai, we have to wait until January to see if the road is going to be fixed to Haena. Now, according to Ave and Aaron, who live in Haena, they don't think it's even remotely possible. And I see Sherry Harris is also shaking her head. So yeah, so our Kauai sisters are pretty sure that it's not going to be happening. Therefore, we decided to, you know, our friends, our dancers on the East Coast have long been asking us to do a retreat on the East Coast. And that's so cute, Gina. See you with your baby girl, yummy. Well, I love this. At any rate, yes, so the Abode of the Message, Pir Vilayat Khan, this was where he's been teaching in Pirzia, and so there's a lot of baraka, there's a lot of spiritual energy at the Abode of the Message. So I really invite you all to come and join us there. It's very beautiful. It's a tiny little Shaker town. Well, it's on the edge and forests, and it's just really, the residencies is really comfortable, the rooms are comfortable, and the food is great. So, any other questions? Comments?
Is the retreat in Woodstock a weekend or a week?
So what we're going to do is we'll go to the Abode of the Message, which is in New Lebanon, and we'll do 5 days of retreat. And then we'll go over to Woodstock, and we will be in Woodstock for 2 days. So if you can only join for the weekend, that's fine. We'll be able to integrate you into whatever offering we decide to make to the monastery there. But the thing about the monastery is we don't know until the last minute what is going to happen. I have never been there, that we were not welcome to dance there. But it's, you know, it's one of those things where anything can happen. But we will be there, and we will do something wonderful for sure.
All right, and the date of the East Coast retreat.
The date of the East Coast retreat, again, let's see, is somewhere in June. Yeah, June 9th through 16th.
And let's see. Can you say a bit about the Black Taras, particularly that correspond with Kali?
Yes, of course. Throughout all of time, mankind has turned to the Great Mother and sees her in many different ways. And through that personal interaction with the Great Mother, various practices and images and ways have developed. Every culture influences every other culture. So the Hawaiians, we might see Pele as Kurukule or as Vajrayogini, because as working with Tibetan Buddhism, that might be what we would do. So yes, you can see Kali, one of her names is Tara. So the practices of Kali and Tara have influenced each other over millennium. I hope that helps. Who asked the question?
Luna Hart.
Luna. Oh gosh, I don't see Luna. Oh, I can do this. Ah, okay. I didn't, wow. Okay. So there's a little button here I can click to see the people that I couldn't see before. So I'm happy. Really, it's so beautiful to see all of my beloved friends. Okay, everyone, let's put our hands together for a moment. And let's just pray that whatever inspiration, whatever joy, whatever awakeness, whatever step towards awakened mind has arisen in us because of this wonderful meeting of hearts. We pray that it will move through our life, that it will touch all of the people around us, that it will go through our communities, that it will pour through our countries, and that it will pour through our world and bring the blessing of wisdom and compassion to all. Swaha, swaha. Thank you so much, everyone. It's very hard to say goodbye to you because it's so beautiful seeing your wonderful faces. So please make some effort. Let's do it again. Let's do it again, and let's keep meeting again and again in these wonderful ways. Okay.